Hello there. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, October 29th. I had to think way too hard about that. But good news, my voice has been found. I apologize what you had to suffer through in the past, I don't know, 2 vlogs, whatever it was. But I'm finally feeling better. Yay! I have conquered the back to school germs. October is almost over. It's a busy week. I've got some things to share with you, so get ready to follow along. Let's start with a little weekend recap while I get all of my things unpacked. Friday was trunk or treat. I talked about this in my last vlog, and it was so much fun. It was my first trunk or treat. It was a success. I understand the hype. And the best part, at least to me, because y'all know I'm competitive, 4th grade ended up winning for best teacher trunk. So we got a trophy, and then we also get lunch from Torchy's Tacos. Yay, I love a good free meal. Speaking of which, yesterday, Monday, in the staff lounge, they had treats for all of the staff members celebrating fall birthdays, and that just made my Monday so much better. But my weekend was pretty low-key. I had a lot of work things that I had to do for Pocketful primary and whatnot. So nothing too exciting there, but it is now a Tuesday, and this is probably the most normal day of the week because there's just a lot going on. I'm gonna talk to you about it, but first, I had some donations yesterday. Our class supply of glue sticks and dry erase markers is scary low. I know it's October, but still, I'm just shocked at how quickly we have gone through supplies. So I had sent out an email to families just kind of saying, hey, our stock is getting a little low. Any donations would be appreciated. And yesterday, I had some students bring in glue sticks. So we've got some here. And then we've got this big box of glue sticks, yay, with the disappearing purple. Every teacher loves the disappearing purple. Am I right, or am I right? Because I'm pretty sure there's only one answer there. And then also some dry erase markers. It legitimately felt like Christmas. I was so excited about it. I was potentially jumping up and down and clapping my hands. I don't know. You jump to the right and you shake that hand. Remains to be seen. And then I had a student, this was so sweet, because y'all know I'm growing an herb garden. So they were like, hey, I know that you've been growing things. Here are some Texas bluebonnet seeds. And they were giving me all the instructions on how to plant them, when to plant them. So it's the little things, y'all. Although if we're being honest, this glue stick donation and the dry erase markers, those are pretty big things in the teacher world. Now, as I mentioned, it's a pretty busy week. I feel like every time I get caught up, and for example, last week I got through my observation, felt like I could catch my breath, and then I'm reminded of all the other things going on that I need to get done or prepare for or process. But they are exciting things and they are fun things. So today actually is what we're calling Mix It Up Lunch. Now, I previously mentioned, I think in my behavior management video, that every class needs some sort of a whole class incentive. And I have the star jars. Whenever we complete that incentive as a class, we submit a Google form. And as a school, we have a big thermometer where we are tracking all of these class rewards. And they also get announced on the morning announcements. We are halfway to our school goal for the number of class incentives reached, if that makes sense. So as a grade level, we got to vote on some sort of a prize. We had the choice between extra recess time or Mix It Up Lunch, and we voted and opted for Mix It Up Lunch. What that means is the students today get to sit anywhere in the cafeteria as long as it's a designated 4th grade table, but they get to intermingle between the classes. So they don't have to just sit at our class table. They can sit anywhere they want within the cafeteria and those 4th grade tables, and the students are really excited about it. I actually love that as an incentive idea because it doesn't cost anything, yet it's still something that the students are really into. And I'm all about those like free type of incentives. Then tomorrow is our next house day. So as you probably know, if you've been following along, we utilize a house system here at my school. And about once a month, although there's a couple, I guess, of months that we don't have house day. Like, I don't think we have one in November. But our last one was in September, where we have whole group time. So our entire house will meet together, and then we have small group time. So we break into groups of about 10 kids, and we do little activities together. It's just a chance for us to kind of bond as a house outside of just our class and our grade level. But tomorrow's house day, we are still having the whole group time for houses, but we are also doing buddy groups. So we are going to be pairing up with, I think it's first grade is our buddy group. I should probably know that by now. But we are going to match up the kids so they're all in the same house, but again, they get more interaction with some different grade levels. So that's going to kind of mess up, for lack of better terms, our schedule tomorrow. It's gonna make things a little bit off. We're gonna have to kind of squeeze in and condense both math and science, because I don't really want to cut one or the other out, because we have an assessment next week for math and then science, just to stay on the scope and sequence. And already this is a short week, as you will see as I continue to go through. So that's Monday, Tuesday. Thursday, which is Halloween, we are doing our storybook character parade. We are sliming our principal, which was a Raise Crave incentive. That's the fundraiser that just wrapped up. And then Friday is a staff development day. So students do not have school. Y'all, that worked out so well with the day after Halloween. I'm just saying, but we as teachers are still coming. And Friday is also one of my team teachers' birthdays, but it is my team teacher who does not have a switch class, because there are 7 of us on the grade level. We have 3 pairs of switch classes, and then 1 teacher who is self-contained. It is her birthday on Friday. So I talked to my team lead and I was like, hey, let me take over some of the responsibilities of like planning stuff for her birthday, since she doesn't have a switch teacher to necessarily do it for her. So I volunteered to take care of getting the card as well as decorating her door. So the card, because she's a big Harry Potter fan, says you must solemnly swear, and then it folds out just like the map, and on the inside it says that today you will be up to no good. Have a truly magical birthday. So I need to get that passed around to my team teachers to sign. I also got for her door just these streamers in like the maroon and kind of gold color. And then this is a like happy birthday banner. And as you can see, it is Harry Potter theme. It has the Harry Potter font. So keeping it simple, but still trying to make sure that it is personal to her and her interests. I got all of this on Amazon, so I will link it for you. In one of my last vlogs, I mentioned how I really needed to order some custom stamps, and I'm proud of myself because I followed through and actually did it. So this is the first one that I got, and I love it because it has my name on it. So it's from the brand Excelmark. All of these came from Amazon, so I will link them for you. But this one is really cute because you're able to customize it with your name and then add 3 different checklist items. So the ones that I chose are Mrs. Emerson says, read the directions carefully, slow down and check your work. Please correct and return. Now, I got whatever the smaller size option was. In hindsight, I wish I had gotten one just a little bit bigger. So if you are also ordering this one, I would say opt for the larger size. Then I got this incomplete one. So it just says incomplete, finish, and return. And then these 3 were all from the same like custom little stamp shop where you just kind of type in your text. So one says corrected new score blank out of 100. So that's this one. I will say the line is a little wonky, like it's not completely straight, but it's fine. And then these 2, because we have grading policies for no name papers as well as late papers, I had a stamp made for each of those that shows like the points that they're missing. I have another one coming that just says, please sign and return. That was inspired by the report card envelopes last week when I stuffed them. We need parent signatures and I had to borrow my team teacher stamp. So I got myself my own please sign and return stamp. I also got a like library stamp. So it says from the library of Mrs. Emerson. So I can stamp that in any new books that I get. And then I believe I got another one of these, but the options on them are different. So once that comes in, I will show you. In the meantime, I will link all of these on Amazon, as I mentioned. Some of them are just as is, like this incomplete finish and return, but the other ones are ones that I went in and personally customized. These are also great if you have students with 504s or IEPs and you have to track which accommodations they are using on which assignments. I used to have ones like this where there were multiple lines, and you can find ones with up to like 5 or 6 different lines that you can customize. And I would type them in like check boxes. That way I could just stamp on their page. It would list out their accommodations and I could check off the ones that were being used. I just love how quick and easy it is. It's a big time saver. That way I don't have to write the same things over and over again on student paper. So make yourself a list of all those things you're constantly writing on papers and get yourself some custom stamps. And then another teacher hack, although it shouldn't be a teacher hack because it's so simple. I don't know why I didn't think to do this sooner. In science, for our interactive word walls, we have these printed pictures that we will add up next to the vocabulary words as a reference. And when I print them, or I don't print them, my team teacher prints them and gives them to me. When I go to laminate them, the word is typically written off to the side, but because I'm just using the picture, once I cut off the word, there have been times where I have this stack of words and I'm kind of trying to look at them and figure out which word goes with what picture. So this time when my team teacher dropped them off yesterday, I got smarter. Before I laminated them, I wrote the word on the back. So I just kind of held it up to the light so I could see where the picture was, wrote the word, and then laminated it. That way I know which one is which. So I already have the words prepped for our current unit as well as the next unit. And to go with that, I have updated our word wall. So this unit is all about energy, and here's your evidence that I'm the world's biggest hypocrite, apparently, because do you remember last unit with mixtures, I said never again am I doing bubble letters. And not only did I do bubble letters, but I made them themed for energy. Why am I the way that I am? So the E represents like heat or thermal energy, chemical energy, mechanical energy, electrical energy, light energy, and then nuclear energy.
You feel that energy?
So it's just kind of up there as like a memory trigger. But our word wall is set up with 3 main sections: transfer of energy, how energy travels, and then conductors and insulators. Yesterday, our investigation was about how energy transfers through motion and waves. So we're gonna be filling out the word wall today, but I've gone ahead and just kind of split that section up. And I've ordered myself more of these magnetic strips. So they're just like 1 inch by, I think it's 1 foot, black magnetic board strips. I had this set from years ago. I mean, I got this like my 2nd year of teaching, but I was able to find them again on Amazon. And because I need more, I went ahead and ordered another pack. They should be here within, I don't know, a couple of days. So by the time we get to travel next week, I should be able to divide that one up as well. But if you are interested, I will link them for you because they are super handy for creating like boxes and whatnot on the board. We have reset up for our new CER. And then I do need to go through and update kind of our math word wall because we started 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication this week. And then one last random thing that I wanted to share is my math flex bin. So during our math block, we have about a half an hour chunk of time that we refer to as math flex. And that's when students are receiving intervention services. I'm doing small group reteaching. Students are working on iReady for that differentiated practice. And so I knew I wanted a spot to hold all of the materials that I use for reteaching during that time. So I had created this box. This is one of those magazine file bins from Big Lots. I had labeled it Math Flex, but didn't have a whole lot in it besides like whiteboard. So I finally went through and kind of set it up, at least for now, to work for the topics and things that we're currently doing. So inside of my Math Flex bin, I have sets of dry erase pockets. So my colored ones all have place value charts. I have shared this place value chart before as a freebie, but I will link it for you again. One side has just a basic place value chart. The other side has several different place value charts, including ones with decimals. So depending on what we're using it for, it's double-sided and they can just flip it over. And those are in color-coded page protector pockets, whatever you want to call them. I also have one just for quick quick reference of division fast facts because we have been working on division, so that was handy to have. I also have whiteboards, and again, these are double-sided, which I really like because I do have students who will utilize both sides, especially in math. They might show one strategy on one side, and then as I see their work, and I'm like, hey, can you show me that another way? They will flip the board over and use the other side. So those are on Amazon, as well as the colored dry erase pockets. I will link those for you. Some other resources that I have in here. This is a place value board from Lakeshore Learning. I've had this for years, but I really like that you can just quickly flip through the different place values and the different numbers. I like that they are labeled, and it's just an easy resource for like displaying numbers, especially pairing it with things like dice. So I have this container with assorted dice. Now this container came from the Container Store. It has 5 sections. I'm sure you can find a cheaper option on Amazon. I'll try to link one for you. But in here I have foam dice, which are really nice because they're quiet. I got these on Amazon. I also have dice and dice. So dice and dice are larger die with a small little mini die inside of it. So these are great for differentiation, and it works like rolling 2 dice because they can look at the outside number and the inside number. Then I have some dice with different random numbers of sides. So for example, this one goes from 0 to 9, or does it go to 10? I think it just goes to 9. So basically all of the single digit numbers, I have a couple of those in here. I have 20-sided die. I have like place value ones that have thousands. So for example, it has like 5,000 and 7,000, and I'm probably not doing a good job of showing this, but just some variations of that. I have some like 12-sided dice and all the options. I got a big multi-pack of dice years ago, so I will link that on Amazon, as well as like the dice and the place value ones and the foam die. And then I also have containers of place value discs. So these containers are also from the Container Store, but instead of 5 sections, they have 10 sections. So it's perfect for holding the place value discs. And for right now, they're nice and, organized and color coded. But these are just foam discs that have the different place value values on them. So for example, this one, these are decimals, but it goes all the way from 0 to 1,000,000, and then we also have 1/10, 100th, and 1,000th. So those are in here organized for easy access. And then the final thing I have, this is a Sterlite bin that, again, I've had for years. It has like a blue clip on the side. I don't know where I originally got this, but I know I've still seen them out there. It's almost like a little mini pencil box. But what I love is these are like the tools that I use as the teacher at the small group table. So I have an eraser and a dry erase marker, which I have put pink tape on, so I know that it is mine. I have 2 different erasers. I have like just a regular pink eraser. This is like a stick eraser as well, because I feel like when my students come back, they will have a pencil, and it never fails that their pencil does not have an eraser because it has disappeared. And by disappeared, I mean they have used it all. So I like to have erasers handy. I like to have a, highlighter because that comes in handy for a lot of things. And then finally, a yellow pen. So this is a Flair pen, and when I would get the color packs for the longest time, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with the yellow marker? I don't like to use a yellow marker. But what I've been using it for is when I check over students' work, especially like exit tickets or their problem set from class, I like to make any annotations if I'm circling something, drawing an arrow, writing something. I like to do it in yellow because my students can see it, but it doesn't stick out too much on the page. So it's kind of a subtle way to just check over their work without it being too distracting. I don't know. I've been using it for a while and it works out. Plus, it gives me a reason to use the yellow marker, which I desperately needed. And so you've probably seen it, but this is the shelf area behind my small group table, and that is where the Math Flex bin stays because this is where I'm typically seated during that area, so it's nice and easy for me to grab when needed. Today was a word wall day in science, so here is the after. I want to kind of talk through my process because I know I've gotten some questions about how I do this when I have 2 groups of students, because obviously if I'm building the word wall with them in real time, then what do I do with the other class? Do I erase it? Here's what I did today, and this was a little bit different than the past. I used to print out kind of templates for my students to put in their notebooks to create almost like their own version of the word wall. Today, this was our first time creating it in our notebooks from scratch, so just on a blank page. This is what I created under the document camera, and you will notice it pretty much mirrors what is on the word wall. So we have the definition of energy with an example, the definition of the transfer of energy, and then we have the sections for motion and waves with the definition, examples, and obviously they're not taping rubber bands in their book, but they are drawing pictures to represent it. So for the notebook, if a student is absent, I will use their notebook as an example under the document camera. That way, when they come back, the notes are already there for them. If no students are absent, I have a teacher notebook and I will just do it in there. So in my morning class, I will actually split my screen. So on my IFP, which is my interactive flat panel, I kind of divide the screen so that half of it is showing my document camera. The other half, we had our digital textbook pulled up. So as we were reading through the textbook, we were creating the notes. I had this under the document camera. They were doing it in their notebooks. Then when we finished the notes, they were working on their CER. So they had a printout that is glued in their notebook for the CER. And while they were working on that, I came over to the word wall and I was filling out this, which obviously I only need to do once. So when my afternoon class came in, yes, they already had a sneak peek at the word wall, but I still created the notes page again in real time, just in a different notebook with that class. So rather than doing the first version on the word wall, I did the first version in the notebook and then I copied it over to the word wall. I felt like that worked well enough. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I feel like as these units go on, I change my process just a little bit to fit me, my teaching style, and also what's sustainable. And I felt like what we did today worked out. The fact that we got all of these notes done, so the notes in the notebook, I got it put up on the word wall, and they wrote out their entire CER for one science class, which is typically like 30 minutes. I'm pretty impressed with that. Like, I will count that as a win. And then speaking of wins, another big glimmer from my day, actually it's related to the word wall. At the end of my morning class, as we were getting ready to go to lunch, so my students were gathering all their things because we switch classes as soon as we get back from lunch. So they pack up all of their things that they need to take across the hall before we go to lunch. And so I was wrapping up the word wall and a student comes over to me, so precious. They go, "Mrs. Emerson, your word wall looks really nice. I love how you use the different colors because it makes it really easy to understand. And I wish all teachers did that." I'm sorry, my teacher heart was exploding. It was just so sweet and genuine, and it goes to show you those little things, like the few extra seconds it takes to swap out the marker in order to create the color coding. There are students who notice. Maybe not all students. There are definitely students who don't notice and don't really care, and that's okay. But there are students who pick up on that and appreciate the effort, and it's helpful for them. So that was a very, very sweet moment. Another sweet moment at the end of the day with my afternoon class, I had some students who had finished up their CER. So for the last few minutes, they were looking up at our class cheers, which I showed that in my last vlog. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and look. I hung up little posters with our class cheers. Some of these are ones that I've borrowed from other teachers. Some of them are cheers that I have created, and then some of them have been created by my students. So they were looking up at the posters and they were practicing them. Like they were almost like quizzing each other with the cheers, which was very sweet. But then they started trying to come up with some more. And I was like, well, you gotta write it down and like leave it on my back table. You have to like submit your cheer, if you will. And one that a student submitted, I thought this was so genius. It's based on the song Who Let the Dogs Out. So if you're not, my age, you might not know this song, but it goes, "Who let the dogs out? Who? Well, our now version of that as a cheer is, "Who let the answer out? You." And it was just so creative and cute. And again, I love when my students come up with these because now I get to teach them to classes in the future. So all in all, I had a really good day. And it's that whole thing where you see the teacher and you're like, "How's it going?" And the other teachers is like, "It's going." Or they're like, we're surviving, not thriving, or something along those lines. And yes, I'm very ready for a break. I feel like I'm kind of at that point where I just need catch-up time more than anything, but I'm trying to stay focused on those little moments that just make me so happy to be back and make me fall in love with teaching all over again. Look, it's the vlog title coming in. It's the whole playlist. I don't know, that's the perfect spot to wrap it up. So if you enjoyed this vlog and I don't know, maybe you got an idea, maybe you got some inspiration, maybe you just smiled at some point, give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to put your positive pants on. Even when it feels impossible, it helps a lot, I promise. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Wait, I already said that. Okay, I guess it wasn't as great of a day as I thought. I'm a little brain dead. I'll catch y'all in the next one.